Hi, I'm Dr. Jack Mitchell with Entrepreneur's Corner, and we're sponsored by TCoast Studios and DiscountDirectory.net. And it's really a pleasure today. As you know, we like to feature entrepreneurs in our community who really are making a difference in our community. I have a gentleman with me. I use the word gentleman with great respect and aplomb. A friend of mine who I highly respect. A gentleman who's doing a lot of great work and a real entrepreneur. So I want to introduce you to Pete Ferguson with Goodfellow Pest Control. Hi, Pete. Welcome.
Thank you.
Say hello to the folks.
Hello. How are you doing?
Pete,
Thank you.
This is about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, and how you got into the pest control business. And then how did you make the leap from there into being an entrepreneur yourself?
Okay. Well, I started in pest control 21 years ago. I had a friend say to me, my company's hiring. You want to try something new? I said, sure. I took it on. I worked for a company called Pioneer Pest Control.
What were you doing before? Did you have a high school degree?
Yes, I have a high school degree, and I've done 3 years of college.
Okay. And so then you were working, and this buddy came to you and said, would you like to get into the...
Well, I was looking for another occupation. Unfortunately, at the time, I was owning my own business at that time also. It was a video business, and of course, technology was phasing out video. So I was looking for another occupation, and he talked me into trying pest control. Okay. Not knowing what was going to happen 20 years later.
So give us just a little bit of the history of, you're working with this gentleman, and then taking the leap to get into. Now, was this here in Florida, Pete?
It was all here in Florida. I started down in Boca Raton with Pioneer, and it was basically, although I was working for someone else, it was sort of the beginning of an entrepreneurship of my own business. I had to go out and sell my own customers. I had to set them up on their service. I had to treat them. I had to collect. I basically did it all and just turned the paperwork into the office. Where my career changed was about 5 years later when I got hired on by Hewlett Environmental Services.
Okay, they're a big name up here.
Yeah, I got hired on there, and I started out as a technician for them, and it only took me about 1.5 years. They moved me into supervision. I became a supervisor for the entire Treasure Coast. So we were servicing 3,000-4,000 homes. I had about a $4 million branch. I was pretty much running, and I worked for them 9 years. And through those 9 years, I went back to school at the University of Florida. I got all my state licenses, and then through the University of Florida, I was able to get my etymology degree. So it took me a long time to finish college, but I did eventually
good for you,
end up finishing.
Yep.
And now I hold all 4 licenses in the state of Florida. I also am a certified entomologist, like I said, and working on the 2nd generation of entomologists with my son and Goodfellows.
Wow. Now, when did you start Goodfellows? Because you said you were with Hewlett for 9 years?
9 years, yeah, 9 years.
And then you took a leap.
Well, I got a little angry. I got a little angry one day and just decided...
That's a motivator.
I just decided I knew that I could do it better. And I just walked out one day and bought a truck. And I started with just me and my truck, and I pounded the pavement, and customer number 1 and number 2 are still to this day my customers for Goodfellows.
Nice.
And now, next week, the 13th, will actually be 6 years in business.
Wow, terrific.
Under Goodfellows.
We have a lot of folks who are listening and watching today, Pete, who are interested in entrepreneurship. What kind of tip, looking back at your career, kind of like a semi-entrepreneur when you were working with these other outfits, especially, Pioneer and Hewlett, but then going out on your own, what have you learned? What kind of tips can you give the audience?
Well, depending on the business, if it's a service business like mine, word of mouth guerrilla marketing is what I built my business on. I joined every group. I joined chambers of commerce. I got involved, and I made a lot of good friends who are even better customers, and still with us today and refer me. And I always look at that as that's my best marketing. I get all kinds of marketing people coming to me saying, "Oh, I have this print out in print. I have that print, or radio ads or whatever, TV commercials." My best business comes from a referral.
Mm-hmm. But again, you are tremendously involved in the community and going to networking meetings and giving back to the community too. So Pete sponsors some programs in the Chamber. Pete and I are friends, and both in the Chamber of Commerce, and we believe in that. And I'm also one of Pete's customers, so we're friends and customers as well. So your thing, Pete, is to really kind of roll up your sleeve and get to meet people and have them refer to you.
Absolutely.
And that's been
with the Chamber, we sponsor the Port St. Lucie Police Department and the Fort Pierce Police Department for their Officers of the Month each and every month, and they refer us. Both chiefs have been great working with us, and even the officers that win the awards have been calling us and using us.
There's two things. Let me just kind of summarize, if I can, Pete, from my perspective. Your personality, your ability to interact with people is really wonderful. And that's critically important if you're going to be an entrepreneur. You've got to be able to have people like you, and you're an extremely likable.
I like to use the word trust.
And trust, well,
because
that's great.
Trust, because your house is your most expensive possession that you got to care for. So if you trust me with your home,
But my other point was you got to be competent. So
absolutely.
And I think it's that combination that has made you as successful as you are, that not only are you a guy that enjoys people and are good to people, but you're terribly competent, that you know what you're doing. So our friends in the listening and watching audience, if you are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur and you want to become even more successful, Pete's had some pretty wonderful insights for you. So Pete, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed the time.
Thank you.
All the best, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At Entrepreneur's Corner, we have another guest to present to you, our friends in the listening and watching audience. Today we have Paul Gray, and Paul is a good friend of mine and someone that I also have a lot of respect for. Paul has kind of an interesting background. He's kind of one of these Renaissance guys. He's into more things than a monkey. An interesting guy, and I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy meeting Paul. Paul, tell the folks just a little of your background, because you're really a very interesting guy. Give us a little history of where you're from and how you got here and some of the things you've been involved in.
Okay, great. Graduated at Cocoa Beach High School. It was a lot of fun. A lot of surfing going on back then. Then I had to grow up and make a living. So got into the advertising business back in the 90s. And it was actually Sunshine Pages that was here locally back when they had the directories.
So it was print?
Print advertising,
yes.
Print
advertising, okay.
Yeah, I came here and got hired by these folks out of Louisiana who became some of my best friends. Yeah, and then decided to, they sold the company, and they brought me with them when I went to Louisiana for a little while and Texas. And after being in Texas for a while, I decided that when they sold that company that I didn't want to be part of corporate America again.
Okay.
So ventured out and opened my own advertising company.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, so we had little community 6x9 directories that were glossy, magazine quality, focused on certain areas. Had 8 of them going at one time.
Wow.
Members of 10 Chamber of Commerces, which was tough to keep up with.
But you felt that was valuable for you. In other words, as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, that your involvement with the chamber was important?
Yeah, networking's the key.
Networking,
chambers are a great start. The one chamber, which was kind of interesting story, is when I started the directory, joined the chamber in that town, Rockwall, Texas, and we were actually nominated for Small Business of the Year, and we hadn't even had a directory out yet. But what I did well is I built relationships with people, which is a key to building trust and building your business.
Yeah, we had another entrepreneur earlier, and you know Pete Ferguson with Goodfellows, and he had a similar kind of message to the audience, about networking and that personal relationship and the personal touch, and you're just kind of emphasizing that again, how valuable that is.
Absolutely.
For an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's all about building trust and relationships. And the key thing is when you go out there and you join networking groups, and this is, I've seen chambers the same way. There's some chambers that are out there that are, hey, what can you as a business do for the chamber? When it should be what as a chamber can do for you. And that happened in some of the chambers that I was involved in.
That's correct.
So just make sure when you do decide to get out there, that don't focus on yourself. Because people will detect if, hey, it's all about me, I'm going to get business for me, versus, hey, let's build relationships and see if we can network and share business with others and have other people in mind and not just yourself.
So at a chamber meeting, it's not all about you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, most of the chambers, you get to say your name and then afterwards, but try to get involved in some of the smaller groups because they are key that you can actually build relationships a lot easier with the smaller groups.
Okay, wonderful. So, what brought you back to lovely Florida?
Florida? Well, actually, it was a divorce.
Okay,
but it was one of the best things that happened to me. So,
that's
not all my
exes.
exes.
That's what your wife told me.
Hey,
yes, your ex-wife.
Not all my exes are in Texas, but one of them is. But no, that's what brought me back here. My kids are here, and I love Florida, and I always wanted to come back, and I, finally got back here. I've been back for a couple of years, and it's been there again. Started a new business, had to reinvent myself again when I came here. As I sold the advertising company in Texas, ended up going back into the insurance business, and so came here and building relationships. Started another company. As you say, I do a lot of different things. So Southern Health and Wellness. That company is out there. They're again helping people, helping physicians, helping their patients. I've got other products, CBD products that are helping people. So the key is number one, find something that you like, that you believe in. And I think if you can find a product that is going to help people, that's all the better. So then you can focus on helping people, and your income is automatically going to come from helping people.
So if you can find that product that helps someone, then the whole orientation is how can I help you? So it's not about you. So it's entrepreneurship, and I've dealt with a number of entrepreneurs. Some of them are not that successful because it's about them. But you're real fortunate. You've found some product lines that by the very nature of the product is to help an individual person, and so you can reach out and say, listen, I got something that I think can really help you.
My mentor told me when I was 20 years old, Tom Hopkins, he said, you are paid in the amount of proportion of the people that you help. So I never apologize for making a lot of money because I'm helping a lot of people.
So that's kind of a nice way to end our conversation. So one of the messages we want to leave to our audience, Paul, is that the more money or the more people you can help, potential making more money for yourself.
Absolutely.
And so that's the formula. Help as many people. Zig Ziglar.
You give and you get.
Zig Ziglar, the famous speaker, always said, the more you can help other people, the more benefit it's going to bring back for you. And that's been your experience. So
absolutely.
Congratulations, my friend. It's nice having you here.
Hey, it's good being here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.